What is going on, everybody? We are going to be doing some settings today. We're going to go through some PC settings so you guys can get on to playing Black Ops 7 nice and smoothly on the PC. And then, of course, we have the console settings coming the next day and so on and so forth, or later today. So we're going to start with graphics, then we'll do controller. So graphics really quick. I'm playing on borderless. You can play on full screen. It doesn't really matter. It feels really good either way. And then if you scroll through all of this kind of stuff, depending if you're GPU bound or CPU bound, you would either be playing on low latency on or on plus boost. I have mine on for now, but of course it just really depends on what you're using on your PC and all that stuff, so you can figure that out. And then we just kind of scroll through. Nothing too crazy on the display side of things. Then we go over to quality. For my settings for quality, I don't have everything low. I have most of the stuff low for the most FPS, but some of the stuff I still like having the game look good. So the big one here is going to be that I play on 1440p. Fidelity cast, we're gonna have that at 90. I don't use any of the frame generation or anything of that sort. The reason why is that causes a lot of input delay, and then input delay just kind of stinks and it feels like crap, and especially with a game like Call of Duty where everything is so fast paced and you die so quickly, having that input delay obviously sucks. All right, scrolling down, VRAM scale target I have at 70. And then variable rate shading I have on. This is really good to get a lot of FPS. I definitely recommend having this on, in the sense of you still don't really lose too much quality at all, and you definitely get a lot of FPS, and it's always been pretty good throughout the Call of Duties. And then texture is where I have mine at high, just to make the game look a little bit better. It doesn't really take too much of the graphics and stuff like that. So if you see anything high here, if you have a worse PC, you can just go very low and you'll be completely fine. The game might look a little bit worse, but it's not that big of a deal. But I have high, normal, off, detail quality I have on a high, again, for the same reason. Particle resolution, I would keep this off no matter what, because you can see I don't like particle resolution, because on the left this is when it's not on, and on the right this is when it's on. I just feel like if you have this on, there's just more stuff on the screen, so there's just no need for any of that. So we're gonna take that off, and then you scroll through. Bullet impacts on for recoil patterns. Shader quality, I have mine on high. I think it makes the game look a lot better. Of course, you can just go on low if you want. On-demand texture streaming, that's what we got right there. And then everything else is going to be pretty simple. So we're going to scroll through that. Nothing too crazy. Field of view for multiplayer, I'm playing on 105. If I was playing Warzone or anything else, I'd be playing on 110. Weapon field of view, I'm going to keep that on wide. ADS field of view, we're going to keep it affected. Motion blur off. First person camera movement off. Those are very, very important. Make sure these are all off here. Motion blurs and the camera movement. And then scrolling through, I play with inverted flashbangs. It doesn't really matter. It's really kind of whatever makes you happy. All right, so that's graphic settings. Now we're gonna go over to controller settings. I play on default. I use a PS5 Battle Beaver. It's right here. PS5 Battle Beaver. I'm playing on default. I might try flipped here soon, but either way, I shoot with my triggers. Horizontal stick sensitivity, 1.6, 1.6. Keep it pretty standard. Anywhere from like 1.5 to 1.7, you'll be pretty good when it comes to controller, in my opinion. Probably a little bit higher if you can control it in this game. And then scrolling through here, this is going to be the big thing for dead zones and inputs and all of that. This is where this video will probably help you the most. If you don't understand dead zones, I'm about to explain them to you. We have dead zones. Let me just turn off my camera for a second. We're going to turn off the camera and explain some dead zones. Dead zones, for anyone that's watching, you have your left stick minimum and your left stick maximum. So your left stick minimum right here, you can see if I make this higher, right here, there's a little red line. Basically, that means if I move my stick, it won't actually activate or register until I pass this red line. So ready? If I move this stick, it has to go all the way past that red line to actually activate. So there's going to be some input delay if I have a very high stick delay. So you want to make sure that you have this off, and left stick movement's always going to be really important. So anywhere from 0 to 3 or 0 to 5 is kind of where you want to be, depending on the controller that you have. And then for the left stick maximum, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to see as I move this around, this red line gets closer, and then obviously closer to the edge. Same thing, when you hit this red line, that's your maximum speed. So basically, if you want to get to the maximum sprint speed as fast as possible, you want to have a low dead zone and then a low max to get there quickly. So if you're strafing and stuff, you can hit those max speeds and sprinting and all that with Omni movement as much as you can. I play at 65. Anything lower than that, I feel like it messes up the controller. And then going down to right stick minimum, same exact kind of feel. I don't really like having it on 0 for right stick minimum because it usually gives you stick drift, and I don't really like that in Call of Duty. So I'd rock anywhere from 0 to 3, whatever kind of floats your boat. You can do 4 or 5. Anything higher than 5, you might need a new controller. Right stick maximum, I wouldn't touch any of that because I feel like that doesn't apply to what I just said with the left stick. It's really important to have the right stick kind of the full range of motion so you know what you're doing with all that aim. And then your left trigger and your right trigger, you definitely want to have at 0 because you want to shoot as fast as possible. There is no reason to have a dead zone on your triggers, in my opinion. So you want to be able to be responsive and shoot as fast as possible. So those are the dead zones. Going over to the aiming now, sensitivity multiplier. If you want, you can have your sensitivity multiplier down to like 0.8 or 0.85, depending on your sensitivity. Like this, basically when you're aimed down sight, you can slow down and feel a little bit more locked. So yeah, I don't really change any of this. That really is all personal preference. In the advanced aiming settings, you want to make sure you have your ADS sensitivity transition timing on instant. Then you want to have your aim response curve type on dynamic. You want that to have it at 1, and then custom sensitivity per zoom. I don't do that, but if you wanted to kind of mess with like your low zooms and all that stuff, if you were a sniper, you can obviously do stuff like this too. And it all helps out pretty well. Moving on, you want target aim assist on, motion sensor function behavior off. And then if you have that off, all these advanced settings don't really matter. But if you are a believer at FOV sensitivity scaling, you can have that on just for your own sanity, but it doesn't really matter. Going over to movement, tactical sprint assist, we do have on, considering that I'm not in the CDL, and we're just going to be using that for omni movement and the best and most smooth movement. And then if you go down here, you want your delay at 0, and then you want sprint assist sideways on. Now for the next couple of settings, the mantle assist I have off, crouch assist I have off, corner slice I have off, but the wall jump and combat roll assist, if you have these on or forward only, I personally tried this in the beta a lot. I didn't like having any of these on. And the reason why is I just felt every time I got close to a wall, I started bouncing off walls uncontrollably. And it just didn't feel like I was really controlling the wall jumping and all that. So as of now, day 1 of Black Ops 7, I'm sure I'll make plenty of these videos. I have this off, and we will continue to experiment with this throughout the game to see if it gets any better, or maybe I just have to get more used to the movement. But as of now, I have this off. Combat roll assist, the same exact thing. I'm not using any of the assist on these two. I definitely think you'll have a better chance just kind of controlling your own wall bounces than not controlling them at all. And then slide to dive behavior. You should either have hybrid if you like diving and sliding without a delay, or you want slide only. Don't have tap to dive, don't have tap to slide. You're going to have an input delay. It's going to feel really bad, and your movement's going to suffer from it. So please do not use that, because it will hurt you a lot. Automatic airborne mantle off, and then the rest of this is pretty normal if I'm not mistaken. Movement advanced settings. You want single tap to run if you're not playing tactical sprint assist, and then obviously that you can just click this once and you'll start sprinting instead of having to double tap to start sprinting. Really not that crazy of tech, but all that's pretty good, especially with not really too much tac sprint in this game. And then aim down sight, all of this, not really going to change too much, but I will show you all the settings just so you guys have it. Tap to reload, I do use for multiplayer. I think it's way better than prioritize interact, only because I don't like picking up guns on accident when I go to reload in multiplayer. In Warzone, a completely different story, but for now, I'm keeping that on tap to reload. And then that's pretty normal right there. And then overlay advanced settings, we're good. There's nothing too crazy there. So now we're going to move to the interface, audio, and then we'll send you on your way. Interface is really easy. Telemetry, I only have those two things on. All that stuff doesn't matter. Readability, subtitles, that's all I got. Text chat size, color customization. This is kind of where you want to do filter 2, both 100, 100, just to give yourself the most vibrant colors. And that's really all you need to do. And then gameplay HUD. If you want, you should definitely move your HUD bounds in all the way. So you want to move these in as much as you can to get the mini map as close to the center of your screen as possible. So you have to use less eye movement to take off your reticle to read the mini map and then get back to your reticle. So always have that as close as you can. Kill feed duration, I don't have anything super special. I actually think I like medium for this though, when I'm actually competing or doing anything important. Radar you don't want on. It makes your mini map all weird. And then all of this else is pretty good. Crosshair dot on, static. Crosshair dot scale, you can have large, whatever floats your boat on that. And then yeah, that's it. Last thing but not least is audio. I have loudness EQ, just like through Windows, nothing too crazy. And then I use Treyarch Mix or Sucker Punch, just really depends on what I'm feeling. Yeah, that's it. Turn off your music volume, effects high. But yeah, that's gonna be all the settings you need for PC when it comes to Black Ops 7 on day 1. Hopefully this helps you out. If it did, subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff, and I will see you guys all later today for the console settings video. I'm gonna make sure I get off and figure all that out for you guys, and then continue on with the videos to help you guys out. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.